Broadnose sevengill sharks are deep sea species, but they come in shallow bays and estuaries for part of their life history. Being able to get access to this species in San Francisco Bay is really incredible and a really unique opportunity. My name is Dr. Meghan Holst. I'm a postdoctoral fellow at the University of California, Davis, and I study shark species in San Francisco Bay.
All right, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, go! Can you read that number back to me? 33266. 9.30 is the weight.
As part of my dissertation, I confirmed that San Francisco Bay is a popping and nursery ground for sevengill sharks, which is really cool. It's one of the only places where we've been able to record and find juveniles year-round. And other places of the world where we have sevengills, we often can't find popping and nursery grounds. I think the only other nursery ground that's been identified outside of the United States is in a bay between Uruguay and Argentina.
Success.
Good.
One of the studies that we're doing this summer is looking at toxicology and bioaccumulation. So we're taking samples of the sediment and the water in San Francisco Bay, and we're also taking blood and tissue samples of the sharks and seeing how contaminants bioaccumulate in their tissues over time. It's especially interesting that we're able to investigate contaminants in broadnose sevengill sharks because this is a nursery ground. We actually have every size class of this species. So we see the neonates, the animals that were just born, and then we also see all the way to adults. So we get to see the progression of how contaminants accumulate in these species while they're here. There are tons of threats to sharks in San Francisco Bay that we're constantly battling, and a lot of that is pollution. This is a highly polluted bay. We're actually comparing the contaminants that we get from San Francisco Bay to sharks in Willapa Bay, Washington, which is considered one of the most pristine habitats in North America. So seeing how contaminants accumulate in sharks between those two habitats will be a really great comparative to have, especially with apex predators like broadnose sevengill sharks. They have a really big impact on the ecosystem. They're what we call ecosystem regulators. They kind of have a trickle-down effect and keep everything else underneath them in the food web in check. So if something happens to that apex predator, it can have a disproportionate effect on the environment. But the more information we get about these species, the better that we can protect them. We can continue to protect sharks by identifying where those threats are with water quality, climate change, and human impacts or human interactions, and try to mitigate those as much as possible. A lot of shark populations are declining, but it's not too late. We definitely can make a difference in shark populations, especially right here in San Francisco Bay. They're right here in our backyard, and we have an opportunity to protect them. So many people love San Francisco and love the bay and look at the water and appreciate that the water is there, but they don't even necessarily know how many shark species are under the water. There are truly so many species of sharks in San Francisco Bay, and it's up to us to protect this habitat and protect these animals while they're here. Having 100 years of graduate studies at UC Davis is really special, but it's just the beginning. So I'm really excited that this is the first 100 years, but I'm really looking forward to seeing what the next 100 years brings as well. If we look back, we've seen so many accomplishments that our university has had with graduate students and professors coming out with some of the most cutting edge research. And I can't wait to see what else we uncover in the next century.